All right, everyone, so today we're going to be talking about ratios and equivalency tables. So to start, we need to know what a table is. So a table is just another way that we can organize information. But there's some pieces that we need to understand in terms of what do we call them. So the first thing is you're going to see something like this. And when you have information that's going across horizontally, we're going to call that rows. And when you have information that's going up and down, we're going to call that columns. So the first row also contains headers to explain what each column is talking about. So this is talking about minutes, so all of these numbers down here are referring to minutes. This number here is referring to number of jumps, so all the numbers underneath this refer to how many jumps. So let's take a look at example 1. Maddie is jumping on the trampoline. She completes 12 jumps for every 3 minutes. So we're going to complete the table. So over 3 minutes, she's doing 12 jumps. That's our first ratio. How many is she going to get in 6 minutes? Well, I have to think, how do I get from 3 to 6? Well, I'm going to be multiplying by 2. So then I'm going to do the same thing with the 12. 12 times 2 will give me 24. So in 6 minutes, she'll have 24 jumps. Now for the next one, they want to know how many jumps will she have in 15 minutes. The same idea. Start with this 3. How do I get from 3 to 15? Well, I'm multiplying by 5. Therefore, I need to think, what's 20 times 5? And that answer gives me 60 jumps. So how many jumps did she do in 6 minutes? Well, I can see that she did 24 jumps. How many minutes did it take her to do 60 jumps? Well, it took her 15 minutes. Okay, example 2. There are 40 rocks for every 160 beads. Complete the table. So they can see that they gave us that first ratio on the table. Here's our 40. Here's 160. So I have to think then, how do I get from 40 to 20? Well, I'm going down. I'm cutting it in half. So if I have 160, I also need to take 160 and divide it by 2. So you can think of that as 16 divided by 2, which is 8. So 160 divided by 2 is going to give us 80. Now I need to think, how can I get to 80? Now you can compare 20 to 80 or you compare 40 to 80. Either work. I'm going to look at 40 to 80. And I notice that I'm doubling it. It's getting twice as large. So if my 40 to 80 is being times 2, I need to do 160 times 2. Okay, break it down. What's 16 times 2? That's going to give me 32. So 160 times 2 gives me 320. Okay, last thing is I need to get to 60. Do you see anything in this list that can kind of easily get you to 60? And what I see is this 20. This 20 is standing out to me. How do I get from 20 to 60? Well, that's times 3. So I'm going to take the number that's in the same row as the 20, the 80, and multiply that by 3. Well, 80 times 3 is going to give me 240. So my question says, if I have 320 beads, how many rocks will I have? Well, for 320 beads, I will have 80 rocks. Okay. Example 3, Meyer is selling fruit for $2 for every 3 mangoes. We're going to practice creating a double number line for this. So we're going to have our cost in dollars. We're going to have our mangoes. Here's a line for that, a line for that. Let me start both with the 0. For my cost is $2, $4, $6, $8, $10, $12, $14. I can go on forever. For my mangoes, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Rebecca wants to buy 2 dozen mangoes. Now, think about it. How much is a dozen? That's 12, so 2 dozen. It's going to be 24 mangoes. How much would it cost her? If you get stuck considering using a table. Now for this, you don't have to use a table, truthfully. You can use a double number line, what we know about ratios, a table, it's whatever you want. I still like to think of the fact that my original ratio is $2 for every 3, for every 3 mangoes. I'm trying to get to 24 mangoes. How do I get from 3 to 24? Well, we're going up. You have to think 3 times what number gives me 24? It's going to be 8. So for $2, I'm going to multiply that by 8, and it's going to be $16. It will cost $16 for 24 mangoes. Okay, there are 6 cups of marshmallows to 18 cups of Rice Krispies for a batch of Rice Krispie treats. How many cups of Rice Krispies would you need if there are 22 cups of marshmallows? Okay, so think about this. This one says we could use a table, so I'm going to do marshmallows, cups of marshmallows, compared to cups of, I'm just going to say, Rice Crisp. Okay, well, we can start with 6 marshmallows gives me 18 cups. Now, I want to know what happens when I get to 22 cups of marshmallows. This is where I'm not sure. Now, I don't really know how to go from 8 to 22, I don't really know how to go from 6 to 22. There's no scale factor that's a whole number that I can find that's going to easily take me from 6 to 22. But I can take 6 down to 2. Maybe that'll help. So to get from 6 to 2, I'm going to divide by 3. Can I take 18 and divide by 3? Well, yes, I can. 18 divided by 3 is going to give me 6. So for every 2 cups marshmallows, I get 6 cups Rice Krispies. But I don't really want to know about 2. I want to know about 22. So how do I go from 2 to 22? Well, it's times 11. So 6 times 11 will give me 66. So if I have 22 cups of marshmallows, I would need 66 cups of Rice Krispies. All right, kiddos, and that's all for today.